You know, if you want to use it.
Do you want to use microphone or you're just going to use it?
No, I'm...
Do you want to use a microphone or?
What do you feel like, Joe?
We got Americans going first? I don't, whatever you guys want to do.
Let's go, it's 10 after 1, let's go, let's go!
Hey, Christopher, keep it down.
Hey, Cliff, hey!
All right, everybody, we're going to do a weapons demonstration for you now. Before we get started, I would like to recognize all of our veterans who are here today. Just lift your hand up for us all, and everybody give them some love. Zephyrhills loves you, man.
There you go.
And we love Zephyrhills.
Oh man, that's good.
All right, we're going to start off with the 1903 Springfield Rifle. It was a bolt-action rifle, fired a high-powered round, which means that it came out of that barrel over 3,000 feet per second, which makes a helmet a target. You will not be safe. The Marine Corps was given these rifles in the Pacific Theater, and they knew that when the Japanese come to bomb us, that they would only bomb the airfield. So when the Army ran for cover, the Marines would go steal the M1 Garand and leave the 03s there. All right. What's our safe direction? Walk over here, fire over the building.
Wait, that's my house over
I'm sure you'll be fine.
I remember only here. Yeah, here.
5 rounds. Now, an interesting story. The bolt action for that rifle was made by Springfield, of course, but the K98 Mauser, which was a bolt action rifle that the Germans had, they sued us, and we're actually collecting reparations until the war started because the bolt design was copied very closely to what the Germans had. It was a brilliant design. Next, we're going to have the 12-gauge shotgun trench gun.
Oh!
The trench sweeper. The Japanese were given orders to kill and torture anybody they caught carrying this weapon. It was so effective. It would stop you in your tracks. Well, I'm going to let you reload. What's it? Model 1912. 12-gauge trench gun. It held how many rounds? 7 rounds in the pipe. It also had a feature called slam fire, where you could hold the trigger down and the shot would go off as soon as you put that round in the chamber.
I'm not going to do that though because this one was made in 1917 and I don't want to break the components because it does wear down fast.
Now these are all real weapons and they were not made for blanks, but we have adapted them, and so sometimes we have a little difficulty getting them to fire right. Whenever you're ready.
Going on!
Ask any police officer you know the best home defense weapon there is. All right, next, what do we have next? We have the M1 Carbine. The one Chopper has got the folding stock, which was a favorite amongst the airborne. It would make it easier to carry. It fired a carbine round, 30 caliber. Now, it didn't have the stopping power of a 45 or a 12 gauge, but it was very accurate, and a lot of the guys that I've talked to who were back in that war loved this weapon. Fired a 10-round box magazine, 20-round box magazine. All right, whenever you're ready.
No, it really is. These shells
There was a version in the Korean War that was called the M2 that had a 30-round banana clip, and it had the fastest rate of automatic fire of any other weapon we had.
Oh my!
It had basically the same bolt design as our next weapon, the M1 Garand. I have the M1 Garand, and so I'm going to have someone else hold this microphone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes!
General Patton called this the greatest battle implement ever created. It fired an 8-round block, 2,750 feet per second, which made it a high-powered round. Oftentimes you could use armor-piercing ammunition. This means that you can't hide behind a thin piece of metal or your helmet. Breech opened up as so, and it had an 8-round block that could be reloaded very quickly. And if you get your thumb caught in there, you get what's called M1 thumb. Now you saw how long it took that Springfield to cycle through his 5 shots. Imagine 10 guys on a hill with this.
Oh, the clip too.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Chris.
The M1 Garand, finest rifles and my personal favorite. I have all kinds of modern weapons in my house, but if I hear a ruckus in my yard, I grab this. Next we have the Sten Gun. The British commandos, or a lot of the men operating behind the lines, used this weapon. It was very accurate, 9mm. Fired a 9mm carbine round. Very nice weapon.
Yeah. The gun that killed Reinhard Heinrich.
And like I said, these are all real weapons, and we have adapted them for blanks, but we get to fire off as good as we can. Now the reason he has to cock each time is because to close the end of the barrel, to create the compression, to work the action, takes a lot of metallurgist and some physics, and you don't want to do that wrong. He just got this one.
I just finished building it yesterday.
He just finished building it yesterday. Outstanding. All right, what do we have next? All right, on all these vehicles, you can see they have 50 caliber machine guns. They call that the Ma Deuce. Now, the Ma Deuce, you could stay a couple miles away from a town. If you had enough of them, you could destroy everything. They not only went through the helmet, they not only went through steel, but they went through buildings. And if you were hiding behind a tree and they're firing a Ma Deuce at you, you'd die of wood poisoning. And also, you'll see some Browning 30 caliber machine guns. They had about a 700-yard effective range, very accurate, fired the same round as the M1 Garand. But a lot of guys, when they found a Ma Deuce off a crashed plane or something, they'd throw that 30 down and take the 50. Are we done with the American weapons?
45.
Oh, all right. We have the 1911 45 caliber pistol. A favorite, it had fired a 45 caliber round, which had an amazing stopping power. It was like throwing frying pans at the guy. They went down. Whenever you're ready.
All right.
There you go. Good job.
All right.
Now also, we don't have one here, but the 45 was also used in the Thompson submachine gun, which would fire out of a 50-round drum or a 20-round stick magazine. And that was also, like the trench gun, it was a trench sweeper. It would stop you right away. The Japanese did not like those. All right, is that it for the American weapons then? All right, thank you, gentlemen. Are the Germans, do you want me to speak for you guys? Or?
Sure.
All right, first I'm going to bring out the K98 Mauser that we mentioned before. It had the bolt action that was copied by the 03. This weapon killed more people than Cecil B. DeMille. Fired out of a 5-round block magazine, and it had to be recharged manually after each shot. Very accurate weapon. It was a favorite amongst the German snipers. It came out of that barrel over 3,000 feet per second, and it had an effective range. Well, some of these guys were pulling off 1,000-yard shots, but 500 yards was, usual engagement. All right, guys, whenever you're ready. Yep.
Just remember I told me. Guess what? My longer one. Oh, yeah.
Now, the blanks don't expand as much as the real rounds would. Sometimes in the cold weather, those rounds, the brass would expand, and that would be hard to recharge, and sometimes they get stuck. And those guys with the M1 Garands would make mincemeat out of them. But thank you very much, Germans.
All right. Good job. The Yanks are coming.
The Germans also had very, very good machine guns. Some of the best machine guns there were. Well, not yet, Kevin. Not that one. There was the what we called Hitler's buzzsaw underneath the wing of this plane. Later on, you can go visit Mark over there, and he's got the MG-34.
Yeah.
And the one after that was the MG-42. They call that Hitler's buzzsaw. I promise you, if you heard this firing in the field, you were as close to underground as you can be, and you didn't pick your head up again until it stopped. The downside to that weapon compared to our Ma Deuce and our 30 caliber machine gun is the barrel would get very hot firing at that rate of speed. So we would wait for them to fire until that barrel got hot, and they'd have to actually change the barrel out before they can continue fire. That was our chance to shoot and scoot and try and get some grenades up in there before they can get that barrel going again. But once they started firing, you were down. All right, now.
Go, Kevin. Shoot some ducks.
What do we have, the PPSH?
I know, this is an MP28.
That's the MP28. Fires a 9mm round, 32 round clip. Very high, it's a very nice weapon, high rate of speed. You know, there was a story that the Russians would always try to pick those up and threw down their PPSHs, but then again, they also said the Germans would throw theirs down and pick up the Russian weapons. Well done.
Woo!
Automatic weapons, you would not just hold down that trigger, you would fire and burst. Keep your accuracy and not waste your ammunition.
Good job, Kevin.
What do we have next? Oh, this is the one, guys. This is the Conveyor, the predecessor to the modern assault rifle.
Okay, cool.
The guy who invented the AK-47 claims he didn't copy this design. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. This was one of the finest automatic weapons of the war. Very accurate, had a high rate of speed, and it had a tremendous range. What did it fire, the 7.62 short? 7.62 millimeter short round.
It's the star.
30 round banana clip.
Half the size of an 8mm bullet.
This particular weapon is probably worth $40,000 to $50,000 now. And very rare, and Frank's is all original, from the war, stamped and official, so go down there at the museum and have a look at them and give them some questions. Think of some real hard ones for them.
I'm going to have to aim this direction because my ejections will go clear to the house. I'm going to go semi-auto.
Let's back up.
How far they're going,
Oh,
and then we'll go full
You
on.
have to tell us
We're
twice.
gonna send the brass over to them, not you.
I'm going to aim this way. The ejection should go right to this man over here.
I'll protect you.
Watch where the round goes and see what you get. Where are they at?
You're good.
Okay, full auto.
Oh,
Very
my.
nice.
Ooh.
Thank you, Frank.
All right, Frank. I'm behind you.
Do we have a grenade launcher out here?
I have one, but it's over there.
All right, well, we have a couple of displays down there where we have the M7 grenade launcher that would attach to this rifle or to the 03. And then normally we could do that and put a tennis ball in it and try and drop it. It's a little bit too crowded here today. But so go see all the displays, ask all the questions you want, and have a wonderful day. Once again, Zephyrhills loves you, veterans. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. Good job.
Yeah.